another AIW Behind the Curtain. I am Pedro DeLuca, and I am sitting here with women's wrestling superstar Veda Scott. Veda Scott, thank you for joining us here today. It's good to see you once again. Now, Veda, the whole purpose of these Behind the Curtains is we want to get kind of away from the in-ring stuff, and we want to find out about Veda Scott. So, Veda, let's start at the beginning. When you were younger, did you have a genuine interest in wrestling? How did you get started in the business?
Did I have a genuine interest when I was younger? I have a genuine interest now. I've always had a genuine interest in wrestling. I don't really understand why anyone would do this if they didn't.
Fair enough.
Did I always want to do this? Of course. I really don't know how you could be any good at this if you didn't always love it. I mean.
Okay, well, let me ask you right there. That's a good point. Okay. Now, we see all these bikini models and Playboy Playmates and all these girls getting into the business. How does that make you feel as a woman trying to make her mark in this business?
Well, I mean, I can't necessarily take away from them. I mean, there are some people who maybe get into this and they have a particular look and then they work really, really hard and they find out that they love it, and I can't really take that away from them. That's not obviously the path that I'm going, but at the same time, I mean, it's more a matter of, you know, what you put into it. I don't really care how you got here. I just care what you do once you're here. Okay.
Well, as a youngster, who were some of your favorites?
Well, I mean, the cliched answer is Sherry Martel, but that's true. But my absolute favorite wrestler of all time was and is Owen Hart. So I try to incorporate a lot of that. I didn't really consider being a wrestler, though, and this is completely true, until I started watching Steve Corino in ECW, and that really was the first time that I really considered doing this, because he was everything I wanted to be, and that's completely true. Okay. Hi, Steve.
Well, now you have your role model in Steve Corino. Now, what steps did you take to become a professional wrestler?
Well, I took the same steps that I think really anyone should take if they're serious about this, and that is to do your research and get trained properly, not in someone's backyard. And, you know, that's just what I did. I say this all the time. It's like selecting a college. You know, you do your research and you figure out who you want to learn from, and you pick a program that's going to work best for you, and you think that's going to, you know, teach you the most and get you the most well-rounded, which is the most important thing. So that's what we did.
Okay, and speaking of your school, you were trained by the Ring of Honor program. Tell us a little bit about your training there at Ring of Honor.
Well, I was trained by Delirious and Daisy Hayes, who are still the trainers there. And I mean, it's just a full, I mean, when I say curriculum, I mean, it really is a curriculum. It's a day-by-day instructional plan, everything from, you know, just working out. You know, we do a lot of yoga, a lot of cardio, a lot of working out all the time, to just be in shape, although you already should be in shape if you're going to do this. As well as just learning how to wrestle, all the different aspects of wrestling and everything that you could want to know, and it really is a full program to kind of get you rounded and also teach you how to start to take care of yourself, how to find work for yourself, that sort of thing. So it's a full curriculum. It really is.
Okay. Some of your contemporaries in training, can you tell us about some of the men and women that you trained with?
Well, my class started out pretty big, and it ended up being me in the end. So I didn't really train with, I mean, I trained with people, but they didn't really stick with anything. Who's still around? Well.
So basically, you were the fittest, you were the survivor of the fittest of the Ring of Honor trainee program.
Or the dumbest to stick with it, maybe. But yeah, there's a lot of great people who have come out of the school. Some of them still wrestle for Ring of Honor today.
Okay. Now, let's go from your training into your debut match. Can you tell us a little bit about your debut match?
Well, my first match was actually against Daisy Hayes, who helped train me. So that was an interesting experience, because it's kind of hard to compete against someone who already knows everything about you, so you can never be one step ahead of your own trainer. It was in Maryland for HWA, it was Horizon Wrestling Alliance, I want to say. Okay. So yeah, I mean, we went about 10 minutes or so, 12 minutes. Okay. It's on YouTube. You can YouTube it, and it was just a great experience, because I mean, it was in there, you know, going one-on-one with the best.
Okay, so in your debut match, you're walking through the curtain for the first time. Were the butterflies there? Were you like, I'm living out my dream. This is exactly what I was expecting.
I mean, that pretty much sums it up. I remember being really nervous, really nervous right before, and then suddenly not being nervous as soon as I walked out. But that was because all I was thinking about was wrestling and winning and all of that and the crowd. But I do remember being so nervous the night before that I just like couldn't function. I was like completely nervous, and I haven't gotten nervous like that ever again. It was just that first time.
Okay. Now let's flash forward a little bit to your debut here in AIW with Girls Night Out, one-on-one with Cherry Bomb. Take us back to that matchup.
Well, that was in July, I think, about the end of July. So I'd been wrestling for about 3 or 4 months at that point, so not particularly far along. And this was a big match for me because it was really it was like my first road trip, really. It was my first, you know, all women's show. It was a lot of firsts, and my first time in front of the AIW audience. And it was my first time in the ring with Cherry Bomb too, who I was familiar with, but I had never met her before. We didn't know each other, and we'd never wrestled before. And I just remember thinking that it was like a big opportunity, and it was a match that ended up getting both of us a lot of attention, and it's been really, really good for both of us.
Okay, take us to the finish of that match, and fans, if you have not seen that matchup, you definitely want to check out the ending of this match. Tell us about the finish, the drop kick that sent you face first right into the ring post.
Yeah, well, that's one of Cherry Bomb's moves. She has a lot of kicks, a lot of drop kicks, a lot of stuff involving her feet because she has these crazy, agile kicks and feet. So she set me up on the turnbuckle and just drop kicked me from behind, and I smacked my head on the post, and that's how she won. She rolled me up, and it was a 3, and it was extremely painful, but at the same time, wrestling is always painful. It was a really, really memorable visual, though, and like I said, that whole match got both of us a lot of attention, so definitely worth it. And yeah, like I said, it was pretty brutal, but it looked good, so that's what's important. And I'm obviously fine. Everyone was fine. We were both fine. Her ankles did not shatter upon impact. Everyone was good.
Well, it was an amazing visual because the sound of your head hitting the ring post and the gasp from the crowd, it's definitely worth checking out if you have not checked out that match. Now, let's step aside from the ring. What are your interests outside of the ring? We've heard a rumor about law school.
I may or may not be almost graduating from law school in 3 months. So I'm almost a lawyer, but I don't usually get too far in the details of that, just because it's not really relevant to the wrestling end of things. But yeah, I mean that's a thing that I have. But in terms of, it's boring. It's not really interesting.
Well, I don't know, fans. If you've ever been to an AIW show, you might need a lawyer one of these days.
So in addition to that, I mean, interest-wise, other than the actual like physical aspect of wrestling, there's a lot of watching wrestling. There's a lot of reading about wrestling. There's a lot of just general study of wrestling. A lot of gym time. It's not anything interesting. It's everything that you would pretty much expect, I guess.
So basically, you are a true student of the game. You live it, breathe it, eat it, sleep it. You are a professional wrestler first, and maybe a lawyer after.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's just a matter of me being kind of obsessive and weird. So, like, if it wasn't wrestling and it was, like, I don't know, like aquariums or something, like, I would just always be involved in aquarium crafting. It happens to be professional wrestling that I love.
All right, well, into your love of professional wrestling, tell us a little bit about working on Ring of Honor TV.
Well, that's new. That's a new development. For Ring of Honor, I'm their backstage interviewer and their backstage correspondent, so I do some stuff for their TV show, and I do some Video Wire, which is our weekly promotional reels and interviews we release, and some stuff for the DVDs. So for that, I'm just kind of interviewing different people and interviewing you know, before matches, after matches, kind of getting feedback. I go back and forth with Kevin Kelly and Nigel McGuinness, who are commentators, and it's that sort of thing. It's like a Mean Gene kind of backstage thing.
She's trying to steal my job. Now, you're working with Ring of Honor TV. Tell us about some of the other promotions, like some of the success you've had in your career here.
Well, gosh, we try to wrestle everywhere that I can. So I've been to SHIMMER. I did SHIMMER in October. a bunch of other places here and there. I mean, I don't really have a home promotion, but I don't have a place, you know, where I wrestle every single month.
Okay.
So I'm kind of all over the place.
Can you tell us a little bit about your Shimmer experience?
Well, I'd been to Shimmer before. I had gone before I was wrestling when I was still training. So I had sort of a general, like I could feel out the locker room, and I'd been helping out and doing ring crew and that sort of thing. So that helped me kind of like start to sort of ease in. So it wasn't exactly like diving right into it with all these strangers. But there were, I want to say, 45 or 47 women wrestling that weekend, or there that weekend. So it was just an incredible amount of, like, there was just so many women that, like, it was when I know this, I'm like babbling because it was just such a, there's like no words for the experience. It was just everyone that you would want to see.
Okay.
As a fan, but also everyone that you would want to see as a, I'm a fan too, so it was just, there's nothing to say. Like, there was no, I don't actually, I've never really, I'm not like blogged about it or anything, because I don't really know what to say. I mean, it was just, I had a sparkle match, which is the non-DVD, like the dark matches, the tryout matches, and then for one of the tapings, I had a match on that as well with Taylor Made, who's kind of based in the Chicago area.
Okay.
So I don't know which DVD that is, but.
Okay. Now getting back to AIW, you kind of said it was your debut among the AIW fans, and as you saw yourself, the AIW fans can be a little judgmental. How do you feel about the AIW fans and the AIW experience as a whole?
I had a very positive experience with AIW in general, even though some of the fans are jerks. But that's in general. That's everywhere, because I think sometimes some people come to shows and maybe they just see women in the ring in general, and I don't know if it's just a general sort of sexism, or if it's what they're conditioned from seeing on TV that isn't necessarily as serious as obviously AIW takes it, and the majority of women in wrestling take it. So it's becomes kind of like a,
you can say TNA show.
Yeah, and it's not really, it's not, obviously it's not what we're doing here, and it's not what any of the women who come to AIW to wrestle are trying to put on. So it's just kind of ignoring that. I mean, if that's what you as a fan get out of it, then that's great. I feel like maybe you could save your money and download some stuff for free on the internet. I don't know why you would come out here to see that, but.
All right. Now, we are taping this right before Girls' Night Out 5. Tell us a little bit about Girls' Night Out 5.
It's tonight. And it's a full card. I want to say 7 matches or so, 6 or 7 matches. And my opponent tonight is Kimberly, who's out of CZW. So we've wrestled twice before.
Okay.
I believe we're 1-1. So this is the rubber match, and obviously I'll win. But beyond that, we kind of we had a feeling out process. You know, we've had 2 matches already, so I feel like this is going to be just the determining factor. And if you haven't seen her wrestle before, what you may have seen were some clips I've seen online, you know, going through tables, and there's none of that tonight at all. None of that. It's wrestling. No tables. Kimberly.
All right, Veda. Now, tell us a little bit about what your plans for the future hold. What is your ultimate goal in the wrestling business?
You know, I never know how to answer this, because usually the follow-up to that is like, do you want to go to the WWE? Do you want to wrestle on TV? Blah, blah, blah. And it's not that I don't. It's just, I just want to wrestle, so wherever there's wrestling, that's where I want to be. And if it happens to be in a particular promotion, or on a particular planet, or in whatever, that's where I would want to be. So I don't necessarily have an end goal like that. I don't have a place I want to be. I mean, obviously, it'd be nice to be able to do this for a living. But at the same time, it's all completely dependent on where there's wrestling and where there's a place for me. And I'll just make a place if I have to.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is Veda Scott. She has Kimberly tonight on Girls' Night Out 5. Veda, thank you for joining us from behind the curtain, and best of luck to you tonight.
I don't really need it.